I'll probably end up licking it all anyway. Okay, why don't I actually, let's see if we can get him on here.
You gotta talk to him about his Instagram account for people that have him.
I know, right?
Are you gonna update it? Is he right there?
Yeah.
What time is it now? What time?
11:59.
Yeah.
Is that how you do it?
I have no idea. You're the pro, not me.
You know what?
There,
Oh, there
send.
it is.
No, we pressed send, not him.
Yeah, I think I pressed send.
No, you didn't press send.
No, I did.
No, because the send button was still there. There. Yes. See? There you go. Hopefully it comes on. Who's that?
Hi, Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
What's up, Jeff? Long time no see, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're not
He
going nuts
just
at home.
joined here, but hold on. I gotta, oh, wait, one sec. All right, so Zach is requesting us to be in our video. Here we go. Let's go on here.
Adam, what's up, buddy?
It work?
It worked.
You're on.
Hi guys.
How's it going?
Oh, sorry. It's going well. How are you guys?
Very good. Very good.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. We appreciate it so much.
No problem. Let me open this window to get a little bit more light in here.
No worries. Take your time.
Oh, that's good.
We've got Jeff here saying, howdy, listening and driving.
Well,
Thanks, Jeff.
Sounds safe. Hopefully you're not texting anymore.
Don't text though, Jeff. Awesome.
So, I was creeping we were creeping your Instagram account yesterday. It looks like you're like brand new, like brand new to Instagram.
Did you just get Instagram?
Yeah, like a week ago, Winnipeg asked me to do a kind of what you guys are doing, so I downloaded the app. And then they told me that I could just use their account. So, yeah. Then we had a little baby, so I wanted to show her off. So, you know.
Awesome. Okay, what I'm gonna do now, hold on, give me just 1 second.
How's the sleeping life going?
Up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get more than my wife does, admittedly. So she's the real.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's different for sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I find like existing parents have some kind of like, I don't want to say it's evil, but we kind of love hearing new parents so effing tired.
Yeah.
Because of all the shit we went through, right?
It's always the first question, so I understand. I can totally see other people loving to hear your horror story, for sure.
Absolutely.
Always. It's like the first thing people say is, how's your sleeping? It's like the first thing every time someone, finds out that you had a kid. That's awesome.
They sound like
the same thing.
Yeah, they sound like they're concerned, but they're actually just happy listening to it, except for my brother. He, every time like we asked him about sleeping at the beginning, she's like, yeah, she woke up like maybe twice that night, and that was it. I'm like, my God, my son would wake up at least 2 times, 3 times a night for a year and a half. It was the worst.
Yeah,
really.
That's crazy.
No, she's doing great, honestly, but it's still different. I mean, we've had a couple nights where she's only woken up twice, but then there's the off night where it's every 2 hours, and it's like kind of like clockwork, right? So, but she's been great. We can't complain at all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you're just joining us now, guys, we have an incredible athlete with us today, chatting with us, Zach Collaros. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction, and then we'll get going. So Zach is American. He was born in Ohio, and he is a football quarterback for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the CFL. Zach won the 107th Grey Cup as a starting quarterback with the Blue Bombers when they defeated the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And he had previously won the Grey Cup as a backup quarterback for the Toronto Argonauts in their 100th Grey Cup. So 2-time championship for the Grey Cup there. Amazing. He played football at the University of Cincinnati. And he has also been a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Saskatchewan Roughriders, and the Toronto Argonauts. I think that's the longest introduction I've ever introduced anybody. But I think that the greatest accomplishment too is that you're a dad this year, right? So
Yes.
we are so happy that you're taking the time today to chat with us. Thank you so much.
No, not a problem. Thank you for having me on. This will be fun.
Sorry, give me one sec.
Hold on, we're just grabbing the laptop right now, just so that we can get some viewers on the laptop as well.
Hold on one sec, guys. I'm trying to hit this. It's not working.
Hold on, we're just go live.
No.
No?
It's the volume.
Oh, it's just getting the volume up?
Okay, we're good. Now we're good.
There we go.
I think our goal today was just to, kind of get into the mind of a professional athlete, right? A lot of people from the gym, have either, like to be, part-time athletes, full-time athletes. We have, a lot of us have kids that we will obviously, start to become OCD and want our kids to be champions. We see them kick a ball and all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, they're going to the World Cup, right? And I think it's interesting to hear from, the perspective of a professional athlete of, how you got, like getting to know your kind of history, how you got started from a young age to where you are now, how your parents, supported you, motivated you to the point that, now that you're older, obviously it's not your parents motivating you, finding out, where you find your motivation from, and the best, what got you to where you are today. Just because I think a lot of us can learn from that, and I think that these principles of success are the same principles of success that we can use in our careers, right? So a lot of people who aren't professional athletes, but we're professional workers, right? We get paid to work, and we are always trying to, reach that next goal, or, win that championship, which would be, winning a contract, or, getting to the next level in your, business, right? So those are the goals that we're trying to attribute today, and I'm pretty sure that you're gonna be able to show us a good framework to getting to, where we want to be. Yeah,
that's a great question. A lot to unpack there in the question. I guess I'd start from a young age. I just always liked to play sports. I mean, like any kid, and whatever season it was, that was my favorite sport, whether it was basketball, baseball, football, soccer, ran track up until high school. I just wanted to be outside and with my friends. So between that and, growing up in a state, in an area that is consumed with, football and sport in general, I really didn't have any other option. My parents both love sports, and my uncles and my aunts and my grandparents. So, if we were sitting around at Christmas or Easter or any holiday, that was what was on TV. And, when I hit the age that I could talk and say, hey, will somebody come outside and play catch with me or shoot the basketball with me? That's all I ever wanted to do. So that was always innate with me, the love of sport. And it just carried over into whatever season it was. From a work ethic perspective, I think, it starts at home. So watching my parents go to work every day, getting out of bed, to support us, I think was always in the back of my mind, even if I didn't notice it at the time. And then when I got to high school, I had a great group of coaches that they just made you work hard. If you weren't going to work hard, you weren't going to play. You weren't going to have the opportunity to play. So, whether it was after school weight program, in school weight program, playing 2 different sports in the same day because your other coach wouldn't budge and move that practice time because your other coach had it. It was just like, it's what we did. And, a lot of the sports that I played growing up, I was considered to be the best player. So, naturally the coach wants you to be the leader, and when you're the leader, you have to lead, from your effort. And they always told me, if you expect to be the guy that everybody looks to, you have to give the most effort. You have to work the hardest. And in between that and my parents and having a little brother that always followed me around and wanting to show him a good example, I think all those things kind of meshed together and, gave me the work ethic that I still try to have now with the same approach that I take every day to what I'm doing now. So.
Awesome.
That's crazy. So when you were young, it's not like your parents were sticking, to one sport and one sport only and trying to get you to specialize. It was kind of you just played everything, kind of had fun with everything, and just whatever developed from there, you just continued with?
Yeah, there was never a specialization period for me. I know that's a big thing nowadays, and it's a big argument for both camps. I'm from a smaller town, probably 20,000 people, so you just played every sport. There was no specializing in it, even all the way down to from elementary, whether it was Little League baseball, Little League basketball. We didn't really start football until middle school. But yeah, it just, whatever season it was, whatever the pro athletes on TV were playing, we would want to go out in the backyard or in the street and play. So that's kind of what we did. And my dad always told me, if you want to play, you can play. You don't have to play. You can do what you want. But if you're going to play, you better work hard at it, and you're not going to quit. Even if you don't like it, you're going to stick it out. And there was a couple times where I wanted to quit things, and then by the end of the season, I was always thankful that, he made me stick it out. And then by the time the next season came around, I really wanted to play again. So, everybody goes through those ups and downs in sport when you're not having a good time. And as a kid, you think the right thing to do is quit, but that's why you have parents and guardians and people like that around you.
Absolutely. So how old were you when you figured out, okay, football is going to be my sport? Was it like you got a scholarship to go to university, or you were, you just found out and you guys won, a big championship in high school, or like what was it where you're like, okay, this is going to be my sport and this is what I'm going to focus on, one thing only?
Yeah, I probably not till I was 17, 18 years old, because I played 3 sports in high school. I was very close to going to college to play baseball. I had committed to go to the school to play baseball. But the last second, a school offered me to play football, and that's ultimately what I chose to do. I just always had more fun playing football. I don't know what it was, but I was always drawn to that. So, prior until I was 18 years old, and I got an offer from Cincinnati.
That's cool. I think that's really important for parents to hear, especially obviously, in Canada, we're fanatics about hockey, right?
Oh yeah.
And we, especially like the parents that we got to deal with, owning the 2 gyms, and we have parents calling us like, we need these kids to do sports-specific hockey.
Yeah.
Right? Only sports-specific training. That's all they're going to do. And in the summer, they're going to do, dry land hockey training for hockey and nothing else. Like,
yeah,
your kid's 9 years old, buddy. Like, relax. Like, let them have fun. Let them, play. And, I think that's something that we're trying to let parents know, because, again, you get caught up in a culture, right?
Yeah.
And, depending on where you live, certain cultures will be stronger than others. And I think it's important to hear from athletes and coaches and say, like, at the end of the day, they have to have fun, because if you're not having fun, you're not going to be a 30-year-old athlete. You're going to probably quit 10 years prior to that or earlier, right?
Yeah.
I think it's super important, especially we had one of our friends, he trains professional athletes, and he said the exact same thing, where it's like, tone everything down, let them dabble in everything, because I'm sure you playing baseball, throwing a ball, I'm sure would help translate into you throwing a football, right? And having throwing around, playing with different dimensions of that.
Yeah, the hand-eye coordination of that, like all those sports, definitely help. I'm sure that would help hockey in some way. I still play basketball in the off seasons just for conditioning, because I hate running. So that's the way I can get my cardio in, and it's a fun thing to play. But I can only speak to football. I know they've done a bunch of studies of the NFL players, and I think it's an overwhelming majority, like 90% or more, play 2 or 3 sports growing up. They were never specializing. I know hockey's a bit different. I don't know why it's that much different, but I know
parents are nuts. That's the only reason. There's no scientific reason. They're just nuts.
Yeah. I've seen it firsthand here a little bit in training, walking by some of those ice rinks, and it'd be 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and parents are there watching their kids on a school day. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, that's going on during school. So, yeah, it's a little different, but.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, now that you're, a new parent, and obviously a professional athlete, what's your, how would you want to positively, promote your child into playing sport? Is it going to be like you have things lined up, and they're like, for the first 15 years of life, they're going to be like, you don't know any better. You're going to do exactly what I tell you.
Yeah.
And we're making it to the show. Or is it you're going to try to like kind of find a balance? Because again, obviously like people who are, hockey dads or, any other dad who never played professional anything, they're going to overcompensate, right?
Yeah.
And try to go completely on the other end of the spectrum. But I think listening, hearing a perspective of a professional athlete, like how do you think you would like to, positively, support your child into sports?
That's a great question, man. I'm sure that is something that's going to change every hour of every day.
Absolutely.
You guys would really be the people to answer that question. So, but I've already told Nicole, as soon as she reaches the age where she can kind of see what's going on around her, I'm going to have a basketball hoop up in the living room. I'm going to have a soccer net on the other side, and she's not going to have a choice. It's just
no.
So about 2 years old. 2 years old, it's going to be sad.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. I don't know. I think like I told you guys earlier, I had good examples growing up, and my parents never pushed me too hard into one thing that I recall. It was just, let's go outside and play. And hopefully Sierra will like to play sport as well. But if she likes to play music or dance or do math, whatever she enjoys doing, you guys are parents. You just want to help facilitate that. But, obviously I think sport has a lot of benefits, health benefits, all those things for your brain too. And I hope she's a little athlete. I'm sure she is. Nicole's a good athlete. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. You're stuck inside right now. And again, I'm not too sure what you have access to, but how are you choosing to take this downtime? Are you taking it to I guess it's a little different for you than if we asked you like a year ago what you would do with your time, because now I'm sure, having a newborn at home, things have completely changed. But how are you choosing to take this downtime during your self-isolation? Like, are you taking the time to completely back off of sport, kind of maybe heal or kind of reflect or get, remotivated into, the next season? Or are you training and getting prepared for being even better for the next season, like physically, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, well, actually on Monday we were supposed to take off for training camp that was supposed to start. So our season is still up in the air. We don't know what's going on exactly with what's going to happen with that. So my approach has been just to, stay the course of what I was doing all off season. And my trainer was kind enough to let me bring some stuff home in the garage. So I have some weights and different equipment in there that I'm still using every day to try to stay as prepared as I can be. Obviously, it's a bit different. You're not going to the gym. You don't have that same routine. And people telling you have to stay home. That's tough. So it's a bit different, and especially with the baby, it's a little different. But we've done a good job, I think, of incorporating my workouts and Nicole coming out with me as well, and doing a little bit of workout stuff when the baby's sleeping, get the monitor propped up. So we're getting used to the mom and dad life on that end, and we can't play the music as loud as we necessarily want to, but
yeah.
So weights really quietly.
Can't drop no weights. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been different, but if you paid attention a couple months ago, you can kind of see this thing coming. So I was asking my trainer, "Hey, do you mind if I take some stuff on with me?" And he was great about it. So I think just he's been great with me too, and sending me workouts and just trying to stay disciplined and doing things on your own. I know you guys in the profession that you're in know all about discipline and dedication and that kind of stuff. And sometimes you just do it on your own. And so it's been different, but it's all good.
Awesome. You know what? I want to kind of tap into your, career as an athlete, getting in the mindset, because these are things that, again, we deal with inside and outside of, of sport. Being in the position that you're in, I'm sure a lot of attention is brought on you, right? Just because, you're the ball holder and you have, pretty much control over, where things are going to go in the game. And, sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days. And you also have to hear, again, playing football, you have 1 million people on a team, plus media and whatnot. How do you deal with failure and criticism?
a lot worse when I was younger. I think, the older you get a little more wisdom, and you go through experiences and figure out how to deal with failure. And you're going to lose games. You're going to fail on a play. To be cliche about it, they always say snap and clear, or next play in football. You worry about the next play. The last play you can't do anything about. It's kind of, the same thought process as controlling what you can control. And I'm a big believer in that. Through every up and down I've had, through high school, college, professionally, as a human being, you're always thinking to yourself, why am I not getting this opportunity? Why did I fail? Like, who on the outside is causing me to do poorly or not get the opportunity that I want? And you finally figure out that nobody's really thinking about you. It's just you, and you just got to control what you can control. So I've always tried to keep that in mind and have that perspective. And that's pretty much it. With being the quarterback, you have the ball the most often. But I think for me, what gives me peace of mind is going into the game knowing that I've done everything in my power to prepare, to be accountable to my teammates. And there's not a worse feeling than losing a game knowing that you weren't prepared for it, and having to look yourself in the mirror and say, I didn't do enough. So that's what kind of drives me before every game, every practice, is being prepared and accountable to my teammates, and ultimately that's being accountable to yourself, because this is my profession at the moment. So
absolutely. Yeah, you answered one of my questions, like point by point, exactly, right? Where do you pull your motivation from? And I'm assuming it's your preparation, knowing that you put all that work in, right? So you're not worried about the what if. As long as you look back and you know that you've done everything you can, what more can you really do, right? And mistakes happen, and we learn from it, right? And the fact that you get to, think outside of yourself, where you're like, I'm doing it not just for myself, I'm doing it for my team, and I'm doing it for my family, right?
Right.
And obviously the satisfaction you get from all that, it's continuing that motivation, which is awesome to hear.
Yeah.
I want to know, do you have a kind of like a regular pre-game routine that you kind of stick to, or is it different every time, or is there something that you think that works for you, that you do you religiously before a game?
To be like walking onto the field with your left foot, or having the same meal, or the same mantra,
or like wearing a bracelet that Nikki gave you. I don't know.
I have some friends who are very very particular about their routine.
Certain things.
I think I'm a bit particular, but not all the way. I don't. As long as I'm eating something light before the game, I usually have a piece of chicken and a vegetable, nothing too heavy. I like to get to the stadium at the same time, usually around 3 hours before. And I think for me, it's just I like silence is my thing. I don't talk to many people. Just try to get into that zone. So there's not a ton I do on the day of the game. Leading up to the game the night before, I kind of have a routine of how I like to study the game plan and what's going on the next day. And I like having that done at a certain point, so then I can relax and put on Netflix and try to get everything out of my mind, because that's probably the hardest part for me, has always been kind of the anxiety leading up to the game. Because for everything you just said, Chris, when you're the guy with the ball in the hands, everything kind of falls on your shoulders. And I think just trying to not focus on that and have some things that can get your mind away from it before the game. Because once you cross the line and you take the first snap and you get hit, all that anxiety's out the door, and now you're just focused on what's going on. You can block everything out around you a lot easier. But at 24 hours before the game, I always tell Nicole and I always tell everybody, I'm not going to miss that 24 hours before the game. That angst that you feel, whether it's, you're not obviously not afraid, but it's just what can go wrong and all those different things, right? So trying to find some things that'll clear my mind, whether it's watching Netflix or reading a book or something like that. I try to do that the night before, and then the day of, just eat something light and get over there, so I can get focused on the task.
That's awesome. I think it's important to hear that everyone has their own version of their routine, right? It's not like a small routine. It could be over the course of a day or 2 days or 5 minutes.
It's probably more stress than excitement.
It's a low grade level of anxiety, but really I'm pretty sure that that's why you do what you do, right? Like you kind of get addicted to that stress because it makes you feel alive, and it makes you challenge yourself to do all those things to prepare for yourself. Because I'm sure that if you didn't feel those things, you'd be like, you know what, I'll read the plays tomorrow. I'm going to look at, maybe I've played against them before. I don't need to check up on them, right? And that it's like a natural governing system in your body that lets you know, like, okay, I got to keep my shit in order, and I got to make sure that, I do these.
It definitely helps, like, outside of the job as well, too. Like you said, keeping things in order and kind of developing a system and a plan that you can, I'm sure it's the same thing with you guys with the way that you guys run your business or your workouts. It kind of trickles down into your everyday life. So yeah, I learned the hard way when I was younger. Definitely like in college, because in high school, you don't have to study as much. You kind of grew up in the system. So for 7-8 years, you know what's going on. In college, when I was younger, I'll look at that tomorrow. And then before a practice, I'm in my playbook looking at the plays. I don't know what I'm doing on this play. And it showed. Our coach would be like, you're a talented kid, but you got to figure out what the hell's going on. So it took me a little bit of time to figure that out and to get rid of that procrastination that a lot of people suffer from, and I definitely suffer from that. And and like you said, like just knowing that I need to get this done, and afterward you can relax a little bit and enjoy the work that you've done during the week, knowing that you're getting ready to go into the game tomorrow, into the office tomorrow, like whatever it is, right? I'm sure everybody goes through that stressor, like you were saying. So that's just kind of how I've always dealt with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, and it just goes to show, how important preparation is. Again, like going for a job interview or doing a presentation, or, you have an opportunity to, get that, that next job. I think it's huge to hear that. Again, if someone's doing it in your position, it's just as important as everything else. You shouldn't go to work and just kind of wing it or be prepared or not prepared, because when that opportunity arises and you're not prepared, you can't take advantage of it, right? And
in my entire career, I've been, not lucky, but usually the person that was ahead of me, unfortunately, got injured. And then I was prepared to seize the opportunity, and, things move forward from there. So like you said, being prepared is I think the most important thing probably in everything.
Cool. Very cool. So you talked that you have a trainer. What's your support team look like? Do you have mentors that you actually seek out, like coaches or people play on different teams, or people that have retired, or family members, or maybe your spouse, or different people? Or is there a team of people that you use for different things to help keep you in check, to balance out your life and to keep you as optimal as possible?
Probably not as structured of an answer as you want to hear, but I've switched trainers the last couple of years just from where we've been living. So from the physical standpoint, the guy that I'm working with now has been great. I think from a mental standpoint and optimization, all those things you probably want to hear, most of that comes from my wife, obviously, and my family and past coaches, people that I've looked up to as mentors, whether it was in the CFL or college, and especially high school. I still talk to a lot of those people, and just seeking out advice. And even if it's not seeking that out, just having a conversation, and it usually tends to lead to what's going on in your life, and those things keep me balanced. But having a great spouse obviously does a lot for me too, and trying to keep things in perspective, and that's what I've always tried to do and continue to try to do.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, no, I know how important. Like, if she wasn't so supportive of me, I wouldn't have been able to do half of the things that I would do.
Yeah.
She'd be like, "You're going nowhere."
Yeah.
But it takes a big toll on the other, your better half, or the rest of your family, because it's such a huge commitment. Because it's not just you're going to go play a game. You have to travel, and not only you have to travel, I'm sure you have to eat a certain way. You have to be training. You're expected a certain amount of hours outside of the gym that's not football related, right? And I think if you don't have that support, you wouldn't be going in with the right mindset of trying to perform optimally. So I think that's so important to hear the importance of.
Well said. Well said, Chris.
I'm trying to score points. Everyone's on right now.
This is like, Maria, all of Chris's success is because of you. Yes, thank you.
Yes. See, it's all this is being recorded, so this way I'm going to just replay this every time she's mad at me.
Just cut it up. You can edit all those little things.
Absolutely.
Those are all my friends. Keep it going, guys. I love it. I have a question. Okay, so as a quarterback, you probably give everybody inspiration on your team. Your teammates, look up to you. And what I want to know is, do you have that person for yourself? Because I know some athletes sometimes, will have one person on the team where it's like it gives them insight, inspiration, and you're probably that person. What I want to know is, do you have that person in your life as a mentor, or do you kind of intrinsically have to find it for yourself, like from yourself, or do you have somebody that coach or whatnot that you seek that mentorship?
I think from a team aspect, there's always a guy or two in the locker room, whether they're vocal or you just appreciate the way that they go about their business every day. Usually it's people that you don't even say to them, "Hey, I really appreciate the way that you come to work every day, and I kind of follow your lead." There's always been a guy or two on every team that I've been on that kind of in the back of my mind, but I want to be more like this guy. I want to approach every day like this guy. I think outside the locker room, for me, it's always been my dad. Just he's always been a real calming presence, and somebody that doesn't think about what I do as a really big deal. Just somebody to keep me grounded and just tell me the things that I need to hear. For me, it's been my dad as a mentor, obviously, and like we talked about in the last question, there's coaches that I've met along the way and teammates that I've met along the way that I really respect. And when I'm in search of some inspiration or motivation to get in the weight room or to study harder, to watch more tape, I usually send those people texts and say, "Hey, you want to get on a phone call later on and let's talk some football. Let's talk, what's going on with your life." And that usually lift me up and get me more motivated, especially in a time like this when there's so much uncertainty and you don't know when you're going to have to report. And, I definitely have those people in my life, and I think everybody should have somebody they can lean on and somebody they look up to, no matter what age you are, what your profession is. You can always learn from somebody. And I've always been a really curious person, and people that I come across in my life and at work, I try to learn something and ask as many questions as possible. It probably drives my wife nuts, but I ask a lot of questions. So, yeah.
Awesome. So when you're training as an athlete, do you try to just focus on your strengths and be like, I am really good at this aspect and let me just crush it and continue to be better than everybody else? Or are you always trying to fix those weaknesses and becoming more of a balanced athlete?
Yeah, I think you want to do the latter. You definitely want to try to focus on your weaknesses. Obviously, it's more fun to do exercises or study things that you actually like to study because you're better at that. But you have to obviously work on your weaknesses to try to become more balanced. And I found in the past off seasons when I'm working on a certain throw that I've struggled with or a certain type of movement, you usually end up being better at that than you are at the other stuff at the end, and you enjoy that even more. I don't know if it's the rewarding process of it or what, but I think for every athlete, every professional, you have to look at what you struggle at, ask some tough questions of yourself and try to figure out how you can improve with those things.
Cool. Yeah, no, you know what? For aspiring athletes, again, I think it's important for parents to listen to this, and anyone who wants to be an aspiring athlete. Do you have any, just general advice that you would give them? It could be as specific or as general that you would like, but something that you might wish that you could have heard from a young age, or something that you thought that actually you heard at a young age that helped you to become to where you are today.
First thing I would say is go outside and play. Just go play.
Not today.
Yeah.
Not today.
Not until, yeah.
You can go in your backyard.
I have younger cousins, and my uncle, who was a big part of my development in sport, always asks about his sons, what should they be doing? And I said, and he's asking more from a specialization standpoint. I'm like, just tell them to go play basketball. Like, I don't care if he's a lacrosse player. Go play basketball. Yeah. It's gonna help him, right? So I would say go outside and play every sport you can with all your friends in the neighborhood, or wherever you have to go. Try to get outside, and if there's a ball or a puck involved, it's a good thing. And then I think from an advice standpoint would just be to have big dreams. It was never really something that I thought about even going to play in college. It was just like I just really enjoyed playing, so I never really had that focus, that goal of I want to do this, then I want to do this. So set goals and understand that they're all achievable. They really are. You make your own destiny, to be cliche, right? You can really do anything that you want as long as you have the drive and the focus. And if people think that you're weird because you have that drive and the focus, that's their problem. Just go, work hard and seek out mentors like we've been talking about. And that is something that I think I wish I would have internalized more, because I'm sure I heard it more as a kid. But just understanding that you can really do anything you want. I know teachers always say that you could be anything you want to be, but that's kind of the truth. In the society that we live in North America, you can really kind of do whatever you want. So I would say that would be good advice to really be more receptive to, if I could go back and do that again.
Yeah, that's
great.
The words of an older athlete. That it's I'm sure the older you get, the more you're like, if I knew that then what I know now, it would be tremendous on success of who we are. But again, that is life. But it's awesome that we have the opportunity to do things like this, where we're hearing it more and more, and people are starting to make these connections. It's like, oh my God, yeah, dream bigger. Get mentors and get that help, and anything is possible as long as we literally have to believe in it. If we don't have any goals, we can't. We have nothing to shoot for, right? So we're just going to probably stay where we are. And I completely agree. And I wish those were things that I wish I dreamed bigger at a young age as well. But again, it doesn't mean we can't stop dreaming and stop setting goals. It doesn't matter how old we are. And again, when we have a growing family, we're going to instill those principles into all of our kids, right? So,
yeah, no doubt.
I think you answered all of the questions that I wanted. I'm sure you're like, Alicia, we've been hammering you with questions, but you know what? You've answered everything. Again, I wasn't sure what to expect from you, but as cliche as they were, they're exactly how they need to be. And I'm really thankful for you giving up your time and letting us know a little bit about yourself, and providing us with some insight and giving us some advice for ourselves and our family members in our community.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and I think it's really cool what you guys are doing here. And I know you guys are probably going through some tough stuff with the way the government is acting about this thing, but I know you guys will do great, and hopefully you guys are able to get people back in there soon. And me and Nikki can come over for a workout or something. And we get to dinner again. It's been like 3 or 4 years since we've done dinner, so it's
been a while.
It has been a while.
Time goes fast, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Zach. We really appreciate everything. If you guys have any questions, you can write them right now for Zach. But I really want to thank you. We are, Sierra says, good job, Daddy. We love you, Sierra. How old is she right now? A couple of weeks?
Just turned a month. Yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, that's crazy.
That is amazing.
Crazy how fast it's gone. Yeah.
Absolutely. It just keeps going faster and faster.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Awesome. Oh, well, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for this. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks. Bye, guys. Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.